And welcome everybody to episode 57 of the Animanicast.
Over hill, over dale, through the sleet and slush and hail, on the home front we're marching along. Give me junk, give me scrap, we'll sit right in your lap. On the home front we're marching along. More stuff we need in this fight for victory. Uncle Sam sure needs it, are we wrong? No, sir! With your help we'll see a stunning victory from the home front we're marching along.
And welcome once again to the Animanicast. We are the only podcast that's dedicated to the animated series, Animaniacs. Here we explore the series episode by episode, discussing all the cultural references and gags that we can find, and in the end, we give each episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me, as always, is my brother Nathan.
Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth?
And over in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Well, today we are, I don't really know what the theme of today's one would be. I guess sort of patriotic-ish, maybe. I don't know. It's not really a standard theme, so I'll just say...
No, I got the theme.
Okay, what's the theme?
It's, how Rube Goldbergian.
How Rube Goldbergian. A very Rube Goldbergian episode. Yes, I'll say that. But what do you guys think of today's episode in a few words? Nathan, what do you... We said Rube... Kelly said Rube Goldbergian. I can't even say it myself. But what do you think about today's episode?
Yeah, like a Rube Goldberg machine, it went all over the place, I guess.
Well said. Okay, well, today we are going to be discussing the segments, Of Course You Know, This Means Warners, Up a Tree, and Wakko's Gizmo. And Nathan, tell us, when did this episode first premiere?
This premiered on Friday. I think last Friday. No, wait.
No, wait.
Sorry, no. February 18th of 1994. I was way off. So that was the release date of Deadly Ground and Reality Bites. Movie day! Woo!
Deadly Ground I don't remember, but I am somewhat familiar with Reality Bites, I think.
Is that the one with Winona Ryder?
I think so.
And Ben Stiller and a bunch of other people like that.
Yeah, that was like the Gen... I remember that coming out and people were like, it's like for the Gen X crowd or something, because they were all like in their 20s at the time or something like that. Yeah, there we go. I don't know about the Deadly Ground, though. It's like one of those... I don't know. Is that like a Van Damme movie? I don't know. That just sounds like...
Well, it's a movie. It did well, apparently, that weekend. But
well, good for On Deadly Ground. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and let's get straight into our episode discussion here, because we have some interesting ones to get through. Let's.
The sad thing is when you said Van Damme, I was like, no, that sounds like Steven Seagal, and it was Steven Seagal and Deadly Ground. I was like, I knew that movie. My dad's the biggest Steven Seagal fan. Sorry, I had to look it up.
I'm glad we cleared that up, because as soon as we push publish, I get immediate people telling me immediately what it really was, and I feel stupid. So I'm glad we get that out of the way right now, so we don't have to worry about it.
We learned something.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our discussion of the first segment, which is called, Of Course You Know, This Means Warners. And Of Course You Know, This Means Warners was written by Tom Minton, and it was directed by Leonard Robinson and Dave Marshall. And, well, basically this is like a World War II propaganda film starring the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister. It starts off with kind of like a historical reference guide for the kids that are watching at home, saying, hey, we're going back in time right now. This is World War II. Famous stars of the day would like Jimmy Stewart and Ronald Reagan would go out and they'd promote the war effort to make sure that people were supporting it, including the Warner Brothers. And here is one of their cartoons. And the cartoon from 1942, I believe it was supposed to be from, is called Warner's Take the Home Front and is directed by the fictional Colonel Flute Tipton. There you go. I don't know. But in this World War II cartoon, I should say, the Warner Brothers are starting their own victory garden.
Here we have a typical American home, manned by Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, 3 typical Americans. Well, maybe not so typical. With a wartime shortage of fresh produce, many Americans are growing backyard victory gardens.
And then they go and they help recycle materials by basically tearing down the entire city.
Why, look, our patriotic 3 have gone the extra mile. Tell us, where did you find so much scrap metal?
Oh, it was just lying around in the background.
And then they go to save on gas. So they make kind of an invisible bicycle for 3, and they ride throughout the town. Wakko does a quick little horn thing like Harpo.
Now that's saving gas for Uncle Sam.
They save rubber. They go and Wakko pops out of a sewer grate and steals rubber off of a moving vehicle, which, did you guys notice another clue that the Warners are actually dogs right there at that point? Because the narrator says,
Wakko Warner uses canine instincts to guide his tireless quest for rubber.
I'm very tired.
and I'm going, okay, they're dogs now, right? Are we? Can we all just say that the Warner Brothers and the sister are dogs, because this is getting kind of ridiculous. I've not seen one thing saying they're cats at this point or anything like that. So, whatever.
Or elephant.
Yeah, or elephants or bugs or penguins or whatever. Anyway, there's also towards the end they recycle nylon, so they have to get all the women to line up with all their pantyhose, and so they donate all the nylon stockings they have.
Uncle Sam is grateful, girls. And so are we.
Boys.
And then they tap dance. They tap dance to in front of a kind of a USO show for all the people that are the soldiers that are there, and wrap it up with doing an air raid warden thing at the very end, telling people to turn off their lights and tell people to buy bonds. Boy, they jammed a lot of stuff all in this World War II thing, kind of paying a reference to many of the classic World War II cartoons produced by Warner Brothers and Disney and MGM, back in the 1940s. So that's pretty much it. I mean, there were other things going on in the background. I mean, Jackie Gleason was there, kind of like in line to recycle his, I think it was his bowling trophy or something like that. And Nathan, you mentioned Ain't It the Truth when they got their medal. So J. Edgar Hoover, who picked up all those stockings, which is quite appropriate because he reportedly had a fetish of some sort with wearing women's clothing and women's stockings. So it very, very appropriate that J. Edgar Hoover was first in line to pick up everyone's stockings. That was funny. But he gives them a medal, and it looks very similar to the medal that the Cowardly Lion got in The Wizard of Oz.
Read what my medal says. Courage. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth?
Oh, they're all wonderful.
Pretty much it when it comes to references to stuff, but boy, oh boy, there was a lot of stuff. What did you guys particularly like about this episode? Any moments that you thought were particularly funny?
I don't know about funny necessarily. I mean, overall, it was, just in general, it was funny. But I thought the dance routine was really incredible for animation, and I thought it was really intricate and must not have been easy to do. And then when when Dot brought out the what was it, Jitterbug at the end, they played the music for Shoe Fly, Don't Bother Me.
Oh.
And I remember that. I recognize it because we used to sing it in music class in school. And they also played it at the beginning of the Rita and Runt episode when there's a fly buzzing around.
I noticed another song reference, too, when they're doing their victory garden, and they talked about don't waste water. So Wakko presses the button, and the whole garden comes up and wrings it dry. You can hear the song How Dry I Am, which I only know that song because that's what Warner Brothers characters would sing when they're drunk. So I heard the How Dry I Am song when they were drying out the garden. Which, by the way, that garden reminded me of a lot of one World War II cartoon. It's by MGM, and it starred Barney Bear. And I think it's just called Barney Bear's Victory Garden, it was just about setting up a victory garden. Which, might have been a reference right there. Nathan, what about you?
I liked how it reminded me of like a Goofy cartoon. That was kind of like narrator, like describing what's going on, kind of. And what is this?
What do you call your invention?
Oh, this is a Rube Goldberg device.
And who's that?
Oh, he's Rube Goldberg.
Not really a Rube Goldberg machine at all, but...
Well, a guy named Rube Goldberg was in that outhouse doing his thing.
Yeah, I guess so. So it worked out. I liked the very end line of "Buy bonds, everybody."
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, it reminded me like "Bon voyage" or something, but saying "buy bonds."
Oh, okay.
It was a cute little pun.
Now, do either one of you have any familiarity with World War II propaganda cartoons at all?
I think I've seen the Donald Duck one. Is that Donald had one? Right?
Yeah, he had a few where he would join the army, and Pete was the sergeant and stuff like that. But I have a whole Disney Treasures did this whole DVD set a while ago where they put out the complete Donald collection and the complete Mickey and all that stuff. And one of the DVD sets was Disney on the Home Front or something like that. And it was a collection of all the Disney World War II propaganda cartoons. And I watched them all, and they're really interesting just as a case study, just to see like how Disney and Warner Brothers really shut down production of all of their other cartoons and said, we're just going to support the war by making these cartoons to show in the theaters, but also to... Some of them were just made for the people overseas, or the people who are in training, just to show them the proper way to, stay healthy, or gosh, there's so many of them. Some of them are fantastic, and they actually really stand up really well, and about half of them don't stand up well at all because they're filled with lots of racist caricatures of Japanese and. The way that they, hey, I'm, they can make fun of Hitler all they want. I don't care about him, but but the Japanese in particular, they were really ruthless when it came to the really racist stereotypes. When we look at it in today's lens, we go, ooh, that doesn't look right. But back in the day, boy oh boy, did people love those. Anyway. But I did appreciate how it reminded me of those cartoons. It was just interesting. I like history, so I'm glad to see it a little bit in this.
Well, buy bonds, everybody.
Let's go ahead and move on to our second segment, which is called Up a Tree. And Up a Tree was written by Deanna Oliver, and it was directed by Greg Reyna. Nathan, what can you tell us about What can you tell us about Up a Tree?
So Rita and Runt are off to Chicago, but trouble happens when Runt finds a fly and chases after it, and they end up in Nebraska somehow. So Rita gets chased up a tree by a dog. Runt goes chasing after the fly the whole episode. Rita can't get down. She suffers from high anxiety, and some birds make fun of her. And eventually she's brave enough to just jump down, and her friend that she made in the tree also jumps down and attacks the dog for her that chased her up the tree in the first place. She finds Runt, but Runt has a fly in his mouth and scares her. So I guess that's the end of the cartoon.
Yeah, there you go. It's a reasonably okay Rita and Runt cartoon. Not much to it, I suppose. In fact, there's not really any references to other stuff. Well, I mean, there's the sparrows that were in it that were making fun of her, and I guess you could. First of all, they're from West Side Pigeons. They came back. They looked a little weird, I think, just because a different animation company was animating these ones. Which I guess maybe that's a reference to the birds in Dumbo, kind of?
I thought so, too.
Yeah.
The crows.
Yeah, the crows. So maybe, it was reminiscent at least, right? And then at the end, the fly is going, help me! And, I've just grown up hearing flies say that in cartoons and everything to the point where I'm like, that's just what flies say. But no, that goes back to the original 1950s movie, The Fly.
I just know the Simpsons version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's just one of those things. It's just cotton pop culture that everyone goes, oh yeah, the fly goes, help me! And yeah, that was in there. But that's, pretty much it. I mean, Kelly, what do you think?
I thought I could totally identify with Rita because I'm scared of heights too.
Giddy, tiddly, I'm hyperventilating, whirling, twirling, this is humiliating, reeling round, I can't swallow, my mouth is dry. I hate this murder though. Oh, I wish I was in Chicago.
Nathan, what about you?
I enjoyed the Corn song a lot.
Michigan Avenue, Frank Lloyd Wright, Wrigley Field, and dancing all night. Oprah Winfrey, Lake Michigan, Muddy Water Blues, and Michael Jordan.
But it ain't got what we got. Corn.
Both songs are pretty good, but yeah, I liked Runt got to do his own little part. Corn.
Corn. Have either one of you driven through Nebraska at all to see all the corn?
No.
If I did, I forgot in it.
But this cartoon, it was okay. It was okay. I really don't know what to say about this. I like the dog. I like the interaction with Runt and that dog, just saying, "Hey, what do you want to do?" Oh, just barking at this cat up the tree. So I like that dog's voice. I think Jim Cummings, did the voice of that dog, that German Shepherd, I guess it was.
What you got up the tree, huh?
A cat.
Oh, a cat. A cat? Where's a cat? I'll mash him, I'll trash him, I'll squash him, I'll munch him. Where?
Up the tree, you kook.
Oh.
Say, mind if I sniff you now?
No sniffing. Definitely no sniffing.
I like how you, Nathan, by the way, you pointed out high anxiety. That is a good reference and much better than this cartoon. Hey, this cartoon is just fine, but if you really want to see something funny, go watch Mel Brooks' High Anxiety. Now that's comedy. Anyway. Well, anything else to say about this middle one, guys?
No.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up then. Let's go to the third cartoon, which is called Wakko's Gizmo. Wakko's Gizmo was written by Peter Hastings and was directed by Rusty Mills and Dave Marshall. Kelly, what can you tell us about Wakko's Gizmo?
you really have to watch it
Yeah.
to get it. I mean, I couldn't even begin to really describe it. But
No, you have to describe every little thing that happens. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, like the first thing that came to mind when I was watching it was the opening scene of Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
And, he does all this crazy stuff to, what is it, pour cereal, I think? Or
Yes, I think so. Mr.
yeah,
T
and so
cereal.
yeah, it reminded me of that. But he creates this, Gizmo's too light of a word for what I looked up, is that a Rube Goldberg device? Because it said it's an intricate device to do something simple, basically.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg devices, they're usually not even necessarily, from what my knowledge offhand, is that Rube Goldberg machines were done almost like cartoons at first. Like, they weren't even necessarily meant to be real, right? It was just here's a funny thing that, the mouse does this, and then this goes here, and then at the end something simple happens. Isn't that funny? And so people would actually just look at them, I'm assuming in the newspaper, like a comic strip. And of course, now that we have YouTube and stuff like that, people actually do making some of these things. But yeah, this is basically what this is all about. It's Wakko is doing a Rube Goldberg machine. He just does a little marble thing and goes through a bunch of things. What happens?
Yeah.
And what happens at the end, Kelly?
He activates a whoopee cushion.
And he laughs hysterically. Well, that's pretty much it. And it's funny that they started the episode off talking about Rube Goldberg, and at the very end they actually do show a Rube Goldberg machine, or at least a device, right?
That's why I said it's a Rube Goldbergian episode.
There you go.
Yeah. it tied it all together.
Somehow.
So
Well, I really don't know what to say about this other than, was there any particular parts of the machine that you thought were particularly funny?
I like the Ferris wheel.
What was the Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Nathan, what about you?
The best part was Dr. Scratch and Sniff. He had the best part of the... Because luckily his airbag's deployed.
Yeah, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, right. Don't worry.
Which that is that's a sign of a more serious accident, I believe, isn't it?
Oh, another day, another dollar. I'm all right. The airbag deployed.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the airbag deployed. Okay, this is good. Wait, no, that means you have to contact the police and
yeah, I was in a car accident one time, and I must have blacked out for a second. I didn't hear the crash. I don't remember it or anything. The first thing I was aware of, my nose hurt.
Oh.
And I was like, why is my nose hurt? And then it kind of all sort of, came in, I guess I just kind of started piecing things together, and I realized my airbag had deployed and hit me in the face.
Oh my goodness.
So, and maybe that's what knocked me out or something. I mean, I just have no memory of anything up until, ow, my nose hurts.
Well, it's nice to see Dr. Scratch and Sniff is such an optimist about all that. That was probably my highlight as well.
Yeah, but he was so negative about the job. He's like, another day, another dollar.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea about art. He's a complicated person. What can I say? Well, really, I think it comes down to just, my guess is Rob Paulson just kind of making up some stuff. Because when you see, it's there's no animation of of Dr. Scratch and Sniff's lips or anything like that. So if I were to hazard a guess, I would say they probably said to Rob Paulson, here, just watch him go and say, Dr. Scratch and Sniff should say something right here. So he said that.
I'm guessing they added it in post.
Yeah.
Just so yeah.
But, yeah.
I liked Ralph's lines, too, of just oh, no, it's the thing. When he sees
thing. Yes.
It's one of those things.
Yeah, the thing. That's another good. Yeah, so for the little dialogue that there was in this episode, it was good dialogue. I guess we could say that, right? But other than that, I mean, I do remember this cartoon. I remember it being funny, and like you were saying, Kelly, I liked these kinds of machines when I was a kid. I would try to do them myself. I remember seeing Pee-wee's Big Adventure and thinking, oh, I'm going to do that. I wanted a house like Pee-wee Herman.
Yeah.
That was like one of my goals in life was like, one day I'm going to have a bike and it's going to be just like that. And I would try to trick out my bike with some of the things that Pee-wee's bike had on it. And I would always fail miserably. But I remember like taping with probably masking tape or maybe even Scotch tape, like my parents' portable radio. And then I did all this stuff. So yeah, Pee-wee Herman, Pee-wee Herman's lifestyle. Well, wish I could have done that. Oh, well. Well, any other last moments in this last cartoon to think about, discuss?
I mean, there's Buster Bunnies and a fish tank, I guess, right?
That's right. Buster Bunny's a quick reference in it. Oh, and Weed Memlo, the director that they had mentioned before, I think there's a picture of him up on the wall that interacts with the thing. So, yeah, Weed Memlo, who is their fictional director of some of their cartoons in the past, is actually shown in this cartoon. So yeah, they had some little stuff. Nice to always see Buster Bunny in these things. He pops up every now and then as a stuffed animal, kind of like how in Futurama they'll show like a Bart Simpson doll or something like that and stuff. So
because the Animaniacs is real and Tiny Toons is fake. So.
Right. Yeah.
At least that's what the Futurama excuse was.
Yeah, exactly. And then they did a crossover, so then then it went out the door, that whole thing. But whatever. Well, let's go ahead and get to the last part right here, which is a very quick segment. It's a good idea, bad idea.
It's time for another good idea, bad idea.
And in this good idea, bad idea, the good idea is visiting the circus, which that's up for debate. The bad idea is having the circus visit you. And, of course, poor Mr. Skullhead has elephants and various things coming into his house and just ruining his carpet. And it's a bad idea. Bad idea, people.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that was his idea for the circus to visit him, but...
yeah, because they just kind of busted down the door, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he tried to make a reservation or something, and they misinterpreted the reservation for the circus, and they went to him. I don't know. I have seen the circus, like when the circus quote unquote comes to town, which now this thing never happens because Barnum and Bailey is, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey they're toast. But I do remember working downtown when the circus did come to town a few years ago. And all of a sudden, I'm just in the front office, and I'm just typing, and all of a sudden, I see something walk by, and I'm like, what was that? It was an elephant. And then another elephant walks by, and I'm saying, what the heck is going on? I poke out my head out the door, and they I guess one of the traditions that they would do would be when they get into the town, they do kind of like the walk of the elephants or something like that to have them. I don't know why they would do it, like more of a promotional thing, if anything. I'm sure they said it was an excuse so the elephants would get exercise, but whatever. I saw elephants walking down the street. It was a very weird thing. It was almost like Mr. Skullhead, except they didn't come into my office. So I don't really know what else to say about this good idea, bad idea, but what do you guys think? On the scale of good idea, bad ideas, what do you think?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't good or bad.
It was an okay idea.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and get straight on over then to our water tower rating. So, what do you guys think? Out of 5 water towers, how many water towers would you give today's episode? Kelly, let's start with you.
I think I'll give it 3 water towers. There wasn't anything too stand out about the episode, but it had some great bits, and it looks like a lot of work and detail went into the dance sequence and the gizmo and everything, and so I really appreciated how much imagination the episode had.
All right, and Nathan, what about you?
I'm going to give it 3.5 water towers. I did like both the first and the last segment quite a bit, but the Rita and Runt fell flat and had nothing to do with Rube Goldberg. So,
yeah, I'll give it I was going to give it 3, but I will give it 3.5 based solely upon the fact that they brought up history and they connected it. And quite frankly, I learned about World War II from those propaganda cartoons as a kid. Like, I learned just about daily life through watching some of those cartoons as a kid. So I appreciate the fact that they were doing that because, heck, maybe some of those kids back in the 90s, that might have been their first introduction to concepts and information about World War II, and that's all good with me.
Well, then that means they're doing something wrong because your first introduction should have been Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's true. Thank you. We have to learn about it through there. You got to go Raiders and in Last Crusade. Let's get that for our mandatory World War II information.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get on over to our poll results from last week. So last week we asked everybody, what's your favorite appearance of Baby Plucky in Animaniacs? And, well, it wasn't really that close. The choices were Garden the Garden, Survey Ladies, Video Review, and Le Bâton et la Balloon. And coming in last place was Video Review. Tied for second place was Garden the Garden and Le Bâton et la Balloon. And coming in with 61% of the vote was Survey Ladies. And that was our winner. What do you guys think? What is your favorite Baby Plucky appearance? Nathan, what do you think?
I voted for Les Boutons et les Balloons because I really like the way he spoke French.
Yeah. Kelly, what about you?
That was the one I liked too, primarily for the same reason. It was cute and, but a little different than when we normally see Plucky. So it was just a nice little add to the episode. Yeah,
I am in total agreement with you guys. I think that is the cutest appearance. I mean, Baby Plucky's already cute, and then you make him speak French. I mean, give me a break, people. It's just too cute.
Plucky, you spoke French.
Well, let's go ahead and get on over to our poll for this week. Nathan, what do we got?
Ooh. Oh boy. Okay, so favorite Rita and Runt episode segment thingy going on round 3.
Fight.
You got to write all that out on Twitter. So
okay, yeah. Good luck with that for me. Okay. All right, whatever.
So the first one was Kiki's Kitten, which is when Rita becomes a pet to a giant gorilla named Kiki. And then there's Icebreakers, where Rita is trapped in Alaska with Runt, and they find Ross Perot. And then this was today's episode of Up a Tree, where Rita gets stuck in a tree. So not great episodes for Rita, it seems.
Yeah, Rita's really, it's rough ones for her. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, which of those is your favorite, ladies and gentlemen? Head on over to twitter.com/Animanicast or go to, just simply search on Twitter for #Animanicast poll. You can make your voice heard. Well, before we wrap things up, I'm going to do a quick, some listener feedback. We're actually listener feedback. So, our piece of listener feedback for this week says, "Hi guys, I'm trying to track down a little Animaniacs artifact, and I was hoping you could help me." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I could not help her. This is from Joanna. She says, "Do you recall a marathon on Kids WB called the Animaniacs Attack? It was very special because it contained bumpers of the Warners commenting MST3K style on their own cartoons. And Yakko had some segments where he sang the names of the Animaniacs fans who wrote into Kids WB. I recorded it on VHS, but in the years since, the tapes got destroyed before I got around to digitizing them. I've been scouring the internet for these bumps without much luck. As fellow hardcore Animaniacs fans, I was hoping you might know of a lead. Any help would be much appreciated." So, this sounded a little bit familiar, but only because I've been looking at some of the old bumpers on YouTube recently of that stuff on Kids WB, where send in your name and Yakko will say it. But does any of this sound familiar to you two at all?
No.
Nope. So that's we're going to go out to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know what the heck Joanna's talking about right here, or more importantly, where you can find it possibly online, because it's got to be out there somewhere, right? Maybe not. But maybe you have it somewhere, like on a VHS copy, and maybe you can digitize it. Who knows? Anyway, let us know. Send us an email, animanicast@retrozap.com, and let's help each other out. Let's help Joanna out, and there you go. And there are lots of other ways to get in contact with us as well. You can contact us on Facebook and on Twitter, on Instagram, and all that. And where can we get in contact with you two? Kelly?
You can email me, kelly@bigshinyrobot.com, or find me on Twitter, YODAPRNCSS, Yoda Princess.
And Nathan, what about you?
Go on Twitter, folks. I'm Django FT. That's me.
All right. And like I said, you can email us. You can send us a tweet. You can go to Facebook. There's lots of different ways to get in contact with us. And, of course, you can also subscribe to our feed of shows on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or simply head on over to animanicast.com, where you will see a full archive of all of our shows on RetroZap. And speaking of retrozap.com, you should head over there for a full list of different articles and podcasts and videos and all that stuff. And tons of podcasts, in fact, including Argcast, Beltway Banthas, Brews and Blasters, Classic Marvel Star Wars Comics, The Deucecast Movie Show, Dunecast, Kanata's Castle, The Sandcrawler, Skywalking Through Neverland, Starship Sabers and Scoundrels, Talking Apes TV, Techno Retro Dads, The Trade Federation, and We Know Nothing. That's just not me just saying about us. I'm talking about the podcast We Know Nothing. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, which I am got to jump on that train of Game of Thrones one of these days. I just got to do that. Anyway. Well, that pretty much does it for us. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
You should see how he brushes his teeth.